Hi, and welcome to Code Corner. This is a video series we do at Mayfield Renewables where we talk about codes and standards as they relate to the solar and energy storage industries. In this edition, we're going to go back and look at some questions we got as part of a closed circuit class that we've done. Closed circuit is a series of classes we've been doing where we deliver a live class, more like a classroom type setting, and encourage folks to raise their hand, ask questions in real time. And so we want to share some of those questions with you here as part of the Code Corner series, and hope you enjoy that and find it useful. So this table really helps kind of delineate that remote versus near exposure. So if you're looking at this table down the left-hand side, it just kind of talks about, it says feature. And so it's kind of what it is that we're having to accomplish. And then right next to it on the right is the section. So it's a nice little lookup table for you. So you can see that there's everywhere from .4 through .5 and then into .8, there's all these requirements that we have for these different sections and the different features we have. What you'll notice is then remote installations near exposures. So we're differentiating our installations between those two distinct areas that we have. Remote installations, you'll see that there's actually only a couple of no's in there saying so you don't have to meet the maximum allowable quantity or to say that the maximum allowable quantity section doesn't apply to a remote installation. And then also size and separation. So those two really go hand in hand. And the idea there is if you can be 100 feet from basically from anything, I mean, more or less, you have just a big bare patch of dirt between that ESS and anything else, then there's nothing that we're going to maybe encroach on. We're going to start a fire or something like that. So the firefighters can stay a very safe distance away at that situation. So go ahead and put a huge installation in. Go ahead and pack those units in as tight as you want, because if something goes wrong, nobody has to approach it if they don't want to, as opposed to installations near exposures where we probably not surprisingly have to meet all of the different criteria because we could be, too close to something. We could be, potentially starting a fire or putting people in harm's way, things like that. So that's just the difference between those two. And again, as Tyson said, I don't know if we've ever seen anything truly in a remote location. I can't think of a single project that we've done where that meets it, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that's met it and been able to accomplish that.
So Adrian had a question about remote. So just coming back to this again, the question was, so wait, if this is a no here and this is a no here, is there 600 kilowatt hour? Like is there an upper threshold? And the answer is there isn't. We'll see as we move forward. If there is no 600 kilowatt hour threshold, does that mean no HMA for a remote installation? And that's a good question. I think the interpretation of this table would say not necessarily to follow suit with that. There's no HMA triggered by a system that has 625 kilowatt hours in one fire area, because the way that fire service would approach that in system size in a remote area is a very defensive approach, right? As Ryan mentioned, we know that hitting a BESS system that's in active thermal runaway or is in a combustion type full developed fire, hitting it with water doesn't affect this kind of chemical fire the same way that it would, say, your campfire in your backyard. And so there's reasons. The times that you see fire service using water is not going to be in a remote case, right? So the short answer to your question is that's correct. There's no limit to the size since MAQ is not in play for remote.